Hi everyone. Welcome to English Story School, where every story takes your language skills to the next level. Have you ever found yourself staring at your current situation, feeling like you're starting from scratch? Like you have no clear direction, no resources, and no idea how to turn your dreams into reality? Trust me, I've been there. I've been in a place where I felt totally stuck, working a job I didn't love, surrounded by people living a life that didn't reflect the potential I knew I had, dreaming of a future that seemed like a distant fantasy. But here's the truth I discovered. No matter where you start, it is 100% possible to go from zero to your dream life. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how and how you can too. It all started with a single question, a question that ignited a deep inside me. What if I could create the life I truly wanted? Let me set the record straight. My journey wasn't paved with luxury or privilege. I wasn't born into a wealthy family with endless resources, and I didn't have the advantage of a famous mentor guiding me through every step. No, there was no trust fund waiting for me, no handouts, and certainly no golden ticket. What I did have, however, was something far more powerful than money or status, something that money can't buy, a fierce, unwavering belief in my own ability to change my reality. I remember vividly those early days, feeling overwhelmed by the gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. It seemed like everyone around me had an edge, whether it was their family's wealth, their connections, or their access to opportunities. I found myself thinking, if only I had that, or if I had someone to show me the way. But then one day, I had an epiphany. I realized that waiting for the perfect moment or hoping for a sign from the universe wasn't going to move me any closer to my dreams. I was sitting around waiting for luck to show up when, in reality, what I needed was action. That was the turning point. I knew deep down that if I wanted to change my life, I couldn't just sit around wishing for things to be different. I had to create the change myself. It didn't matter if I didn't have a rich background or a powerful network. What mattered was my willingness to take control of my destiny and to stop waiting for permission to start living the life I dreamed of. I made a decision that day. No more excuses. I had to move beyond my circumstances, my doubts, and my fears. If I was ever going to build the life I wanted, I couldn't wait for a perfect moment to come knocking. I had to create that moment, right then and there. It was as if a switch flipped in my mind, and suddenly, the idea of waiting became an obstacle I was no longer willing to entertain. I stopped thinking about what I didn't have and focused on what I could do with what I had in front of me. That relentless belief became my fuel. It wasn't always easy, and there were plenty of setbacks along the way. But the difference was that I believed without a doubt that I had the power to create change in my life. And when you have that level of belief in yourself, it propels you forward. It drives you to take the first step, even when the path isn't clear. It compels you to push through the fear, doubt, and uncertainty, because you know that waiting for someone else to make things happen for you is never the answer. So, while I didn't have everything handed to me on a silver platter, I had something that was far more valuable, the belief that I could create my own destiny. And with that belief, everything changed. And so I did it. I took that first crucial step, the step that would change everything. But let me tell you, it wasn't as glamorous as it sounds. The first thing I had to do? Look at my life, really look at it, and be brutally honest with myself about where I was in that moment. And when I did, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't a beautiful story of success or a picture-perfect vision of where I thought I would be. In fact, it was the exact opposite. I was stuck in a cycle, one that felt all too familiar. Every day felt like I was going through the motions, simply surviving but never thriving. The excitement I once had for life had been dulled by routine and the constant pressure of trying to get through each day. I was working hard, sure, but I wasn't moving forward. It felt like I was running in place, pouring all my energy into something that didn't bring me closer to my dreams. And the worst part? The idea of living the life I truly wanted felt so far out of reach. It wasn't even something I could see on the horizon. It was as if my dream life was a distant star, glimmering somewhere in the sky, but hopelessly far away. I didn't even know where to start. But here's the game changer. The moment everything shifted, I realized that my current situation wasn't the end of the story. No matter how bleak it felt, this wasn't it. It wasn't permanent. My circumstances weren't a life sentence. They were just a chapter. In fact, I wasn't stuck at all. What I had mistaken for being trapped was actually just the beginning of my journey. Can you imagine how liberating that realization was? It was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I stopped seeing myself as someone who was stuck, hopeless, and failing. Instead, I started to see myself as someone at the starting blocks, right at the beginning of something big, something incredible. It was like stepping onto the first step of a staircase that led to everything I'd ever wanted. And guess what? There was nothing holding me back. From that moment on, I stopped thinking of my current situation as an obstacle. Instead, I started thinking of it as the foundation. Yes, it was messy. Yes, it was uncomfortable, but it was exactly where I needed to be to begin building the life I wanted. And that shift in perspective, it was nothing short of liberating. It freed me from the chains of self-doubt, fear, and frustration. I realized that I was on the edge of something extraordinary, and all I had to do was take that first step. So, here's what I want you to take away from this. When you find yourself feeling stuck or lost, when your dreams seem impossible, don't see your current situation as a prison. See it as the starting point for your journey. You're not stuck. You're just beginning. And when you embrace that truth, the entire world opens up to you in ways you can't even imagine yet. That's the power of shifting your perspective. That's the power of seeing the beginning, not the end. And trust me, it will change everything. If you find yourself in a place right now that feels frustrating or uncertain, I want to take a moment to share something that will change the way you see it. Trust me when I say that this could be the turning point in your entire journey. The first step toward transformation doesn't start with action, money, or even a brilliant idea. It starts with something far simpler, and often harder, than you might expect. It starts with accepting where you are right now, exactly as it is. I know, it sounds counterintuitive. You might be thinking, why would I accept this situation? It's exactly what I don't want. Believe me, I've been there. It's so tempting to wish your circumstances away. It's so easy to look at where you are and think, I should be further along by now. Or, I'm not where I want to be, so something must be wrong. And maybe you feel frustrated, stuck, or even embarrassed by where you're at. But here's the truth. Your current situation is not permanent. In fact, it's not even the whole story. This is just a chapter. And guess what? Every great story has its ups and downs. Every hero's journey begins somewhere. Not at the top, but at the very starting point. And your starting point is exactly where you need to be to begin the incredible transformation that's about to unfold. Let me tell you, when I first started my own journey, I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know exactly how things would unfold. But the moment I accepted where I was, without judgment or shame, everything started to change. I realized that instead of resenting my current situation, I could embrace it. I could see it as the soil from which my dreams would eventually sprout. In fact, it was the perfect foundation to grow from. The rough patches, the struggles, the messiness, all of it had a purpose. It was what was going to help shape my growth. It's the same for you. Think about it this way. If you want to grow a beautiful tree, it doesn't start as a full-grown oak. It starts as a tiny seed buried in the ground. That seed might look small. It might even look insignificant to an outsider. But beneath the surface, it's gathering everything it needs to eventually break through the earth and grow tall. Your current situation, no matter how small or challenging it may seem right now, is like that seed. It's full of potential. The challenges you face are simply the soil in which you will grow. It's not the end, it's the beginning. The key to moving forward is to stop fighting where you are and start accepting it as part of your journey. Once I embraced this truth, something amazing happened. I stopped feeling like a failure and started feeling empowered. Instead of wishing for a different life or hoping for things to change, I began to take ownership of my situation. I realized that this was my starting point, and everything I needed to succeed was already within me, waiting to be unleashed. So, here's what I want you to take away from this. If you're feeling stuck or discouraged right now, remember that this moment is just one chapter in your story. The chapter you're in right now doesn't define your future. It's merely the foundation, the springboard from which you will grow and soar. Embrace where you are today. It's not a mistake, it's not something to regret, and it's definitely not something to avoid. It's the fertile ground where your dreams are about to take root. Accept it, nurture it, and trust that the transformation you're hoping for is already beginning to unfold, right from this very moment. The more you embrace your current reality, the more power you have to change it. All right, let's talk about something that's absolutely key to making any kind of meaningful change in your life. Getting crystal clear on what you truly want. This step is so important that I can't stress it enough. Without this, everything else you do might end up feeling like you're spinning in circles, constantly moving but never getting any closer to your dream. For the longest time, I had a vague idea of what my dream life looked like. You know, the kind of vague ideas that float around in your head but never actually take shape. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. I want a better life. But here's the thing. Those kinds of general ideas don't give you the clarity you need to really take action. If you're aiming at something but you don't know exactly what you're shooting for, how can you expect to hit the target? It's like trying to hit a bullseye with a blindfold on. Sure, you might get lucky once or twice, but it's not sustainable. So I did something I had been avoiding for far too long. I sat down and got seriously honest with myself. I'm talking about a deep dive into my desires, fears, dreams, and goals. It wasn't an easy process. Oh no, not at all. I had to ask myself the hard questions, the ones that didn't have easy answers. Questions like, what do I really want? What does my ideal life actually look like? Where do I want to be in the next few years? Now, this may sound simple, but the power of asking yourself these questions is massive. When you take the time to reflect on what you truly want, and not just what society tells you to want, you begin to uncover a roadmap to your future. For the first time, I had to let go of the vague daydreams and really get clear on specifics. It wasn't enough to just say, I want a good job, or I want to be happy. I had to dig deeper. I asked myself, what kind of job do I want? What does my ideal workday look like? Do I want to work from home? Do I want to travel for work? Do I want flexibility in my schedule? And as important as professional goals are, I also asked, who do I want to surround myself with? What kind of people inspire me? What kind of friendships do I want to nurture? Because let's face it, your environment plays a huge role in shaping your future. If you want to go to new heights, you have to surround yourself with people who elevate you, not pull you down. But here's the really big question I had to answer. Who do I want to become? That was the game changer. If I was serious about creating the life I wanted, I couldn't just focus on external circumstances. I had to think about who I needed to be internally to make those dreams a reality. What kind of mindset did I need to adopt? What values did I want to hold on to? What habits did I need to build? I had to picture my future self, someone who had already achieved all those goals, and ask myself, what does that version of me think, do, and feel on a daily basis? And let me tell you, the answers I came up with weren't just a list of things I wanted. They were a vision, a clear, vivid picture of the life I was creating. This vision became my guiding light. Whenever I got off track, whenever I felt uncertain, I could come back to that vision. It reminded me of what I was working towards and kept me focused on the end game, not the temporary roadblocks. Now, I know it's not always easy to get this clear, and you may not have all the answers right away, and that's perfectly okay. It took me a while to truly figure out what I wanted, and I had to be patient with myself through the process. The key is to start asking those big questions, and to keep refining your vision until it feels so vivid and specific that it excites you every single day. Once I had that clarity, it was like the fog had lifted. I could finally see where I was headed, and I had a roadmap to get there. No more guessing. No more doubting. I knew exactly what I was working towards, and that knowledge alone gave me the confidence to take the next steps, no matter how big or small. So, here's my challenge to you. Take some time today to sit with yourself. Get clear on what you truly want. Ask yourself the hard questions, and get honest with your answers. Don't settle for vague dreams. Be specific. Visualize your dream life, what it looks like, who's in it, and most importantly, who you have to become to achieve it. Because once you have that clarity, you'll be amazed at how much more focused, driven, and confident you'll feel. You'll know exactly what you're aiming for, and you'll be that much closer to hitting your target. Let me tell you something, getting clear on what I truly wanted was like flipping a switch. It was as if a light bulb went off above my head, and suddenly, everything that had been fuzzy and unclear snapped into sharp focus. It was the game changer I never saw coming, and trust me, it completely shifted the entire trajectory of my life. But here's the kicker. It didn't happen overnight. And it didn't happen just because I had big dreams. Oh no. It happened because I defined those dreams with so much clarity that they became real, tangible, and actionable. You see, before this moment, I had always been in a state of dreaming. I would imagine what my ideal life looked like. Maybe it was owning a successful business, living in a beautiful home, traveling the world, or just waking up excited about the day ahead. But these were all just broad, sweeping ideas floating in my head. The kind of wishful thinking that sounds good in theory, but doesn't have a clear roadmap to make it happen. And here's the thing that most people don't realize. Dreaming is powerful, yes, but it's only the first step. Dreams are like seeds, but a seed without a clear direction or nurturing won't grow. You can't just keep dreaming about a beautiful garden without putting in work and planting the seeds in fertile soil. Similarly, you can't build your dream life on vague notions. You need to define what that dream looks like. Otherwise, you're just wandering aimlessly through life, hoping things will fall into place. When I finally got clear on exactly what I wanted, not just a vague idea, but a concrete, crystal clear vision, it was like unlocking the treasure chest of possibilities. I began to see that my dreams weren't some abstract fantasies. They were achievable goals that, with the right actions, were completely within my reach. It was like I'd been handed the map to my own personal treasure, and now all I had to do was follow the path. It wasn't just about wishing for success or a better life anymore. It was about defining exactly what success looked like to me. What kind of lifestyle did I want? How did I want to feel every day? What were the steps I could take to get there? The more specific I got, the more excited I became. Instead of thinking, I wish I could be successful, I started thinking, what does success look like for me? How can I make it happen? And this is where the magic happens. Once you've defined your dream, it stops being a dream and starts being your reality in the making. It's no longer just a hope or a far-off possibility. It becomes a mission. And let me tell you, once you make that shift from wishing to defining, everything around you starts to change. Suddenly, opportunities that were always there but never seemed possible start to make sense. You see them, recognize them, and know exactly how to seize them. It's like when you get a new car and suddenly notice how many people are driving the same model you just bought. The car didn't just appear because you thought about it. It was always there. But once you tuned in and focused on it, the world around you starts aligning with that focus. For me, once I defined my dreams, everything started to shift in ways I couldn't have predicted. I became more focused, more driven, and more confident in my decisions. I stopped doubting myself and started taking bold, decisive action. The moment I got crystal clear on my vision, I could see exactly what steps I needed to take to get there. No more guesswork. No more second guessing. It was like I was playing a game and finally knew all the rules. I stopped waiting for the perfect time to begin. I stopped waiting for a magical sign to come. Because once I had that clarity, I knew I could create my own path, no matter what. Clarity was like my superpower. It gave me the courage to take risks, to say yes to opportunities, and to start building my life in the direction I wanted to go. And here's the best part. This shift didn't just affect my career or goals. It transformed every aspect of my life. I started saying no to things that weren't aligned with my vision. I stopped spending time on things that drained me, and I started investing my energy in things that excited me, that brought me closer to my dream life. So, here's my advice to you. Define your dream. Don't just imagine it. Don't just wish for it. Take the time to sit down, get honest with yourself, and ask, what do I really want? What does my ideal life look like in vivid detail? The clearer you can get about your dream, the closer you'll be to making it a reality. Once you do this, everything changes. You'll start taking steps toward your dream like never before. And instead of feeling stuck or overwhelmed, you'll feel like you have a clear path ahead of you, just waiting to be walked. So, if you're ready to shift from dreaming to doing, take that step today. Get clear, define your dreams, and watch how everything starts to align around you. Because once that light bulb goes off, there's no going back. You'll never look at your future the same way again. This is the part where most people get tripped up, the part that makes or breaks everything. Clarity alone won't get you to your dream life. No, it's what comes after clarity that truly matters. Action. And not just any action, but massive, imperfect action. Let me explain why this is the game changer and why so many people miss it. You see, getting clear on what you want is like getting a map to a hidden treasure. It's exciting, right? You can see the destination, you know the route. But here's the catch. The map won't walk you to the treasure. You got to take the first step. And here's where most people stumble. They get stuck in the planning phase. They wait for everything to be perfect, for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect plan. But here's a little secret I've learned the hard way. The perfect moment doesn't exist. I'll be honest with you. When I first decided to chase my dreams, my first steps were a mess. They were messy, not glamorous, not polished, not even remotely close to perfect. In fact, there were times when I was terrified, second-guessing myself, and wondering if I was even on the right path. But despite all the fear and uncertainty, I kept moving forward. I wasn't waiting for some magical moment when everything would align perfectly. No, I was taking massive, imperfect action, because that's where the real progress happens. And I can't stress this enough. Progress doesn't wait for you to feel ready. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment to act, you'll be waiting forever. I used to think I needed everything to be lined up: skills, confidence, connections, the right tools. But guess what? I didn't have all of that at the beginning, and I still made progress. I didn't need to be perfect. I just needed to start. The secret to success lies in those imperfect steps. You can't wait for the conditions to be perfect because they never will be. It's about creating your perfect moment through action. You take that first step, and then the next, and then the next. And before you know it, you've built momentum. And guess what happens when you start building momentum? You start getting better at it. You start learning new things. You start making connections. You start figuring out what works and what doesn't. You evolve, and that's the magic. Every step you take, no matter how messy, brings you closer to your goals. And trust me, I know how it feels to be scared and unsure. When I was first getting started, I didn't know how to do half the things I was trying to do. I didn't have all the skills I needed. I didn't have all the answers. I was just figuring it out as I went along. But here's the thing. The learning happens in the doing. The more I acted, whether it was a perfect move or not, the more I learned, the better I got, and the closer I got to the person I wanted to become. The truth is that first step, that leap into the unknown, is always the hardest. It's terrifying to step outside your comfort zone. It's uncomfortable to try something new. But here's the secret. Action overcomes fear. Every time I took action, No matter how imperfect, I felt a little less afraid. And every time I moved forward, I built more confidence in myself and my abilities. But don't get it twisted. It wasn't easy. There were times I wanted to quit. There were moments when I felt like I was going in circles, not making any progress at all. I didn't always have the perfect answers, and I sure didn't have the perfect plan. But that's the thing about action. It's about doing the work, not waiting for everything to align. The more I pushed myself, the clearer everything became. The more I acted, the more the path appeared in front of me. And this is something I want you to remember. Imperfect action is far better than no action at all. Perfectionism can be paralyzing. It keeps you stuck in the planning phase, convincing you that you're not ready, that you need more information, more practice, more time. But let me tell you, if you keep waiting for the perfect conditions to start, you're never going to get anywhere. The key is to act, to move, even when you don't feel ready. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There's no magical time when everything will align just right. The truth is, you create that perfect moment by taking action, even when it's messy, imperfect, and downright terrifying. So, if you're waiting for the perfect time to start, stop waiting. Start now. Take that first step, even if you don't have all the answers, even if you don't feel ready. The action you take today is what will shape your tomorrow. And trust me, once you start moving, everything else will start moving with you. Here's the bottom line. If you want to change your life, you have to take action. It's not enough to dream, to plan, or to wait. You have to do, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect. And when you do, you'll be amazed at how quickly things start to shift. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it by taking action today. And trust me, that's where the magic happens. Now, let's be real. The journey from zero to your dream life isn't a straight line. It's a winding road filled with setbacks, obstacles, and yes, failure. But guess what? That's okay. In fact, it's necessary. Every failure I faced wasn't a reason to quit. It was a lesson in disguise. A lesson that taught me what didn't work so I could get even better. If you're not failing, you're not growing. So, let that fear of failure fuel your fire, not hold you back. Learn from it, adapt, and keep pushing forward. And here's one of the most powerful lessons I learned. You don't have to do it alone. For a long time, I thought success had to be a solo mission. But the truth is, you need a tribe. You need people who will push you, encourage you, and challenge you to be your best. Find mentors who've walked the path before you, and peers who are on the same journey. This network becomes your lifeline when things get tough. And trust me, they will. The right people can make all the difference. But here's the final, most powerful piece of the puzzle. Your dream life isn't just a destination. It's a mindset. Yes, the external circumstances will change as you work towards your goals, but the real transformation happens inside. I had to start thinking like the person I wanted to become. I had to embody abundance, resilience, and confidence, even when I didn't yet have the success to show for it. And when you truly believe that you deserve your dream life, that belief will propel you through every challenge, every setback, and every obstacle. So, let's quickly recap the key steps for going from zero to your dream life. 1. Accept where you are. Your current situation is just a starting point, not a permanent place. 2. Get crystal clear on what you want. Define your dream life with absolute clarity. 3. Take massive, imperfect action. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Create it by acting. 4. Embrace failure. It's not a setback. It's a lesson that will move you forward. 5. Build a supportive network. Surround yourself with people who will help you grow. 6. Shift your mindset. Become the person you need to be in order to achieve your dreams. And the most powerful lesson I've learned? Your dream life is not something waiting for you in the future. It's happening right now. In the decisions you make today, in the actions you take, and in the mindset you choose to adopt. So, don't wait. Start today. Your dream life is closer than you think. Thanks for watching, and until next time, go create your dream life.